guys, welcome to episode 4 of the world's most famous hauntings. Tonight we're going to have a look at the dangers behind using a Ouija board and the ancient rituals of exorcisms. Is it possible to communicate with the dead? Could we really have one last conversation with a loved one? And if so, what consequences do we risk in doing so? For many years there has been controversy over the use of Ouija boards. Some people believe them to be a way to contact and receive messages from the spirits of loved ones, while other people claim that using a board opens a portal in which evil spirits and demonic entities can travel through, attach themselves to the users and cause havoc and potentially be very dangerous. There are also those who see this device as nothing more than a Victorian game, once played by children. But if that were true, how can we explain away all the activity reported from those who have been brave enough, or foolish enough, to use one? For one young boy who used a Ouija board, it ended up with him paying the ultimate price. This is the real Exorcist case file. The following event started in the January of 1949 and is centred around a young boy known as Robert, who was just 13 years of age. A quiet, gentle boy, somewhat socially awkward and yet normal. He was an only child living with his loving mother and father in Maryland. Robert had an aunt who he grew extremely close to over the years, called Harriet. His Aunt Harriet was a spiritualist and spent many hours teaching Robert various beliefs, including how to use a Ouija board. Sadly, Harriet died at a young age that January. Robert was destroyed. He turned to using the Ouija board just like he once did with his favourite aunt, but this time his aim was to speak to her through it. Nobody knows if his attempts to contact her through it were ever successful, but it is widely believed that it was these solo Ouija board sessions in his depressed state of mind that caused the strange events to start happening. It was the 15th of January when the family woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of water dripping. The sound echoed through the house, and the source of the noise could not be found. This continued for several nights. The noises became louder, with tapping and banging being heard by all the family through the night times. They eventually called in the exterminators, who found no evidence of rats or mice. The family's thoughts on what was causing the noises soon changed, when items started moving around the house propelled by themselves, and a picture of Jesus Christ nearly flew off the wall, as if it was being thumped from behind by an invisible force. Straight away they thought they had a poltergeist in the house, a noisy spirit here to torment them. But when the activity seemed to focus on Robert's bed and person, Robert's parents decided to try a Ouija board in order to find out what was haunting their house and their son. During the session, screams were heard from upstairs, and the answers to their questions were being engraved upon Robert's body. Fearing something more sinister and demonic, the desperate family turned to Father Raymond Bishop, a priest who passed the case on to a Father William Bowder, a priest with experience of exorcisms. Bowder visited the family. He spoke to the boy and parents extensively, taking in every tiny detail of the case. He returned the next day with Father Raymond Bishop acting as his witness to perform a series of prayers on the boy known as a novena. Not long after this started, Robert's face began to contort, and he wailed in pain as more vicious markings started appearing on his chest as if being engraved with a knife. After witnessing this for themselves, the priest left, believing the boy to be possessed by the devil. Bowder contacted the Archbishop of St. Louis to get permission to use the ancient art of exorcism, which was quickly granted. In the first 2 days of the exorcism, the boy kicked and threw himself around the bed, showing a superhuman strength in response to every word Priest Bowder spoke. And on the third night of the ritual, at 1 a.m, Robert shot up, claiming he was going to be sick and demanding that the window be opened. And in a deep exhale, he announced it had left him. The family all gathered around the bed, saying prayers of thanks, believing the ordeal to be over and their boy to be saved. However, by 2 a.m, just after Bowder had left, the boy announced it's back while writhing across the bed. This is a common trick played by an evil entity to trick a priest into going away. Priest Bowder continued with the exorcism day after day, but before long decided it was best to move Robert to somewhere where the boy's discomfort and screams would cause less strain. He was moved to a psychiatric ward in a Catholic hospital in St. Louis. Here is an eyewitness account of the first day of the exorcism in the hospital.
That was about what I did, was hold him. And then sometime, when they'd stop the prayers, I'd visit with him and talk to him. Before we started the prayers, he had a bottle of holy water that was about this big, and he blessed the boy with the holy water, and then he turned around and put it on a dresser. And then I was kneeling there at the foot of the bed, and all of a sudden this bottle whizzed by my head and crashed into the wall, fell down. And that was the first clue that I had that this was a case of exorcism.
Robert's behaviour during the exorcism got worse and worse. His violent outbursts led him to punching one of the holy men and actually urinating on them several times whilst they were trying to help him, and then moments later being oblivious to his actions.
He asked if I ever thought that the child was faking his condition or his actions. No, I never did. There wasn't anything that he was doing at the time these seizures would take place that would indicate that he was attracting attention or reveling in the attention that he had attracted. He was complaining that I was hurting him by holding his arms and that sort of thing. So I let go of his arms, and the minute I did that, he whacked me.
Robert asked for some paper on which he wrote, "I am the devil himself. In 10 days, I will give a sign." Worried by this development, Father Bowder decided to baptise Robert in the hope that this would help. Over the next few days, Robert showed signs of improvement, up until day 27 of the exorcism, when the session starts with the words "exit" being engraved upon the boy's chest as he thrashes around in pain. Robert then starts chanting, "You have to say one more word, but you'll never say it." Finally, the priests repeatedly used the word Lord until Robert claimed to see a vision of the Archangel St. Michael, and claimed to see St. Michael fighting the devil back into a fiery cave before peace fell upon the room and upon Robert and his family from that night onward.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.